Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my recordings. In this recording, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about slabbing comics, and I want to take this time to do this because I am trying to not be fired up. I am literally trying not to be fired up. And the reason that I was fired up was because I was reading a fan magazine, the issue number 1 of a fan magazine that I actually picked up at a local comic shop a little over an hour ago. I picked up this fan magazine and I came home and I started to flip through it, and I'm looking at the art, trying to read the various small comic strips, if you will, that are contained in this thing, and I'm like, oh, it's not too bad. I come across this page where there's an ad. I'm like, or an appeal for people to take out ads. I'm like, ooh, maybe I should support the local guy that is trying to live his dream with this fan magazine. Maybe I should take out an ad. And I continue to flip the page. I flip the page, and then I get to a page that basically says slabbing. Why? Oh man. So I proceed to read this article, and it's an interesting article where this guy, he basically, says that a comic that is slabbed is basically no longer a comic. And I struggle. I stared off into the distance for a couple of moments after I finished reading this, and I was pretty quiet. My wife looks at me and she says, what's going on? What's on your mind? I said, I'm debating whether I want to respond to this person. She says, why? So I explained to her very briefly, and she says, don't fall for the bait. She says they probably wrote that article in order to elicit responses from people. And she's probably right. And so instead of responding to that person directly, I decided just to record a vlog so that I could get it off my chest. And the reason for that, I'm going to be honest with you, is because it's not just this guy that wrote this article that has put me in an interesting position where I feel bad. I am being forced to feel bad about a decision that I am making for my collection. And I won't do it anymore. There are people, this guy included, that are basically making these statements about folks that choose to slab comics, whereby they are basically saying if you choose to slab a comic, then you are wrong. They are saying that when you slab a comic, it no longer is a comic. It is a status symbol. It cannot be enjoyed anymore because you cannot flip through the pages. It is just a commodity that is now, being made to buy and be sold by people, by speculators, by comic shops that are trying to make their money off of slabs. You're almost made to feel bad because you choose to spend your money to get a comic slab or to buy a comic that has been slabbed. And I just disagree. We say all the time, there's no wrong way to collect, which is true, right up until people find out that you like to slab comics. Then you're dirty. You're basically a dirty person. You're bad when you slab. No, that is not true. It's not true. If you choose to spend your money to buy a slab comic, or to get a slabbed, or get a comic slabbed, or get it graded, whatever, you're not wrong. It's your collection. It's your money. Do what you want to do. Don't feel guilty. Don't allow people to make you feel as if you are doing something wrong when you slab a comic. Certainly, comics don't suddenly become not comics because they are slabbed. I actually have a wrap on my car to protect my car from road debris and things like that. It's on the windshield. It's on the entire front portion of the car. It's on the flares of the rear tires. That car suddenly did not become something else because it is wrapped in plastic. It's wrapped in plastic to protect my investment. The same way I want to protect my comics, which are an investment. Do I intend to sell the car at some point? Yes. But until then, I'm going to continue to ride in it, and it is still a car. When I get ready to sell a comic, it will still be a comic. It is hanging on the wall, and I can totally enjoy it. Because why? Why? Because I can look at many of the comics that I am looking at right now, and I can remember the stories in those books because I read those books. I have digital copies of those books, and I can look at these covers and I can remember the stories that are in there. I don't have to crack them open to flip through them to remember them because I read them. And if I want to read them again, I can get a facsimile comic, I can get a digital comic to be able to still enjoy it. To those people that are saying, hey, a comic is no longer a comic because it's, you can't flip through it anymore, I would ask them, how often are they taking their expensive comics out of the slab or out of the mylar or the poly bag or the top loader or whatever it is that they've chosen to protect their books with? How often are they taking those books out in order to actually just casually flip through them? To all those people out there that have the X-Men #1s, the FF #1s, the Avengers #1, pick a key, pick an expensive key. How often do you take that book out of the top loader and the mylar and the poly bag to casually flip through it? Is that comic no longer a comic because it's in a top loader or because it's in mylar? Is it no longer a comic? Is it no longer a comic because you're not flipping through it? No, it's still a comic. It is still a comic, even if it's in plastic. It can still be enjoyed, even if you can't just easily flip through it. And the truth of the matter is that if someone doesn't believe in slabbing, that's okay. That's okay. And if someone does believe in slabbing, that also is okay. Why must we all do the same thing? Why must what one person do be acceptable by another? Why can't people just do whatever it is that makes sense for them and for their collection? Why must people who don't slab look down upon those that do? Why? Why must people who choose to slab always be put in a position to justify their decision to do so? Why? Why must I? Why must I explain to you why I slab? Can it just not be what it is? That being a personal decision? Why is that not acceptable? I don't get it. I really don't. And I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't think that that's it, because I've heard people across ages that don't believe in slabbing. So I don't think it's an age thing, I struggle with it. And honestly, I am not going to continue to feel compelled to justify why I choose to slab and protect the comics that are in my collection. If someone doesn't agree with it, I'm just going to look at them and nod my head. I am just going to nod my head and say, we are okay to disagree with one another, my friend. And I'm going to leave it at that. I feel so much better. I feel so much better now that I've recorded this and been able to verbalize what it is that I've been feeling for probably a couple of months now. Probably a couple of months I've been feeling this, and I'm glad to finally get it out there, because I feel better. I feel better having confessed, if you will, how the angst that I've been forced to feel by people. I feel a lot better. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to listen to this recording. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, I encourage you to give a thumbs up to this recording. And whether you agree or disagree, I look forward to reading your comments in the comment section, because again, it's not about whether you agree with me. It's not about whether you disagree with me. I'm always curious to hear what people's thoughts are, because I'm just a fan of that. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Certainly, if you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so at RegieCollects on Instagram and RegieCollects@gmail.com. Take care.